It's Jay. Welcome to Mvskoke Radio, your weekly source for tribal and community news, interesting guests and discussions, plus a local events calendar. Stongo, Gary 5 Jaho Jifkedos, Mvskoke Radio, Mabo Hadjidawedskis. Welcome to our program on this sunny but chilly Okmogi morning here. We appreciate you all coming in and hope that you're staying warm. We had originally planned to have our principal, Chief David Hill, join us, but knowing his schedule, he had to postpone for a week, so we'll have him back. But throwing Ann Edwards, the tribal liaison, into the trenches to fill in, we'll try and get a show here done with her. Now, also setting in is our managing editor, Liz Gray. Good morning, Liz.
Good morning.
We appreciate you coming in, and we're going to find out what we've got. And then later on, we're going to revisit a wild onion dinner, so we'll take it easy on you. First of all, Ms. Edwards, thank you for coming in. We appreciate the last minute kind of fill-in job you're doing here. It's important that the administration join us and come in. And as we were joking, we'll have to work over the chief twice as hard next week. But first of all, we want to know about your mission as tribal liaison, and can you give us a capsule about yourself?
Sure. Hi. Good morning. It's Kayadega, which means, did you make it through the night okay? I'm really excited to be here in this capacity. This is a new venture working in the administrative offices for me. I've worked in several areas of the tribe. First of all, let me go back and introduce myself. My name is Ann Townsend Edwards. I am Mvskoke Chickasaw, and I am the daughter of Elizabeth Townsend, who is full-blood Mvskoke, and John Townsend, who is a Chickasaw citizen. And my grandparents were the late Albert and Sally Gouge of Hannah, Oklahoma. And shout out to all my Hannah peeps out there. One of the things that drew me to this position is the fact that I see a huge need for advocacy for our at-large citizens. And a lot of people are wondering, well, what qualifies her to be an at-large citizen or to be an at-large advocate? And so one of the things that a lot of people don't know about me is I've worked for the tribe for, a combination of 22, 24 years. But for about 12 of those years, I lived outside of the state of Oklahoma. And I married and moved away, and then decided once I was going to have a baby that it was time to come back home because I'd need my family. But during the time that I lived outside of the state of Oklahoma, I experienced many of the needs that our citizens have, especially that loss of connection to not just Indian people, because anywhere you go, you can find a population where Native people gather. But it was the connection to my Mvskoke roots and my Mvskoke heritage that I missed. And so I know all too well that lonesome feeling or that disconnect that you can have living at large and wanting to be around Mvskoke people. And so that having that experience alone has helped guide and sort of direct my path to try to create a program that is going to be very sustainable for all at-large citizens. And so I put together a plan that I would like to follow, and I like to think positive that everything that I have planned out is just going to go peachy keen. It's going to go smooth, but we all know that there are bumps in the road. And so what I do hope to propose is that with every goal that I set, that I can work with everybody, that if there is a bump in the road, that we can find our way around it for the betterment of the people. I mean, my vision is to bridge the gap and connect our people together. And by doing that, we have a huge disconnect here at home for understanding what the at-large needs are of the citizens that live in all communities over across the United States, and we do have a lot out there. Now, what
let me jump in here for a
Okay.
second. And, now, from listening to what you've just shared, first of all, you've lived this life of being an at-large Muskogee citizen, so you bring that experience to the position, right? And as you opened up with your language there, you have that resource also working for you. So what I'm interested in is, first of all, how is that going to help you, do you think, and the experience of being outside of our jurisdiction?
So, having been exposed to the language, I've been immersed completely in our culture. Growing up, my great-grandfather was a Hillishaya at Alabama Ceremonial Grounds long ago, and then my grandfather, Albert Gouge, was a Hillishaya at Mvskoke Ceremonial Grounds long ago. And that is my true grounds and where I was raised at, where I first learned to ribbon dance at, first learned to shake shells. All my first experiences were at the ceremonial grounds, and then with Trenton Indian Baptist Church in Hannah as well. And it was the old church that operated. Having been immersed in the culture and been raised by a family that were totally fluent speaking people, has given me the knowledge to bring the language to. I'm not a fluent speaker, and I can't converse, but I do know more than I can speak. But I know words. Those are things that I can promote within the program, and definitely utilize our Mvskoke language department in helping with that. And one of the other things that I had done is, in conjunction with another at-large citizen, when the pandemic hit, we did start a language page. And I've converted that page now, and we're no longer doing that language page simply because our own language program has started an online program. And so we want to promote the tribal programs as much as we can, because that's part of connecting the at-large citizens with their roots.
Right. No need to start something new.
Right. And so, those experiences alone have helped me to make connections with at-large citizens and listen to their needs, and help me to understand what they're feeling, and just the need to put our culture and our traditions out there. And, what's not sacred that can't be shared publicly. I like to respect the ceremonial grounds and our Mikos and their wishes as much as possible, to share what we can without, how would you say, really making all of the things that are sacred public knowledge.
Expose,
yes.
Right. Oh, I was participated in that page at one point, and I thought it was a great source, of learning, even though I was out, because I did it while I was at large, because I've been at large, for a few months, and it was a really nice way to connect and learn. And I noticed, there are at-large citizens that really want to learn, and that, they excuse me, sorry, not to say that they're different, it's just someone that has never been here. That's kind of like what I'm interested in, because for me and you, we've grown up in this area, and so when we go out, we know what's in there. So, I think I'm interested on your approach to someone that's never been into it, and they, I think they kind of have a different view because they don't have any kind of reference, So I guess my question is how do you plan to connect to the people that have never been connected to this area?
That's a good question. And one of the things is I've already started making those connections even prior to me accepting this position. The language page that I did, I started teaching a very basic language, your alphabet, and just expanding vocabulary. During that time, I would have different at-large citizens send me messages and saying, I'm trying to learn who I am. And so, I would give them guidance to our cultural preservation department, who has a lady by the name of Melissa Harjo Moffer, who does genealogy, and she can help trace your lineage. And so I would start, guiding and directing, and some of the people were like, oh, I wasn't aware that service was offered. And so it was a common thing that these people would message me, and I would begin to find out, wow, they just don't know, or that we offer these services. And all of the things that I began to realize that all of the things that I had knowledge of, I took for granted that everybody just knew. Mm-hmm. So I did begin to make those connections with people, and sharing that, being Mvskoke is more than just holding that citizenship card. It's wanting to know who you are, who your clan is, what ceremonial grounds you come from, where your family lineage is. And I had one lady, and I won't share her name because I don't know, this is her story to tell, but one of the things she shared with me was she traced her lineage, and she found that in her background, it wasn't as pretty as she thought, or she had hoped, that some of her family members actually murdered people. And, it was really tough for her to say, how can I be proud to be Mvskoke? And so one of the things I wanted to share with her was that that's not who she is. That pre-modern era, a lot of times killing is something that was necessary for survival of our people. And it's not something that's pretty. It's not a part of history that we like to go back and to view, but that the best was yet to come for her, because she was on her way to finding her Mvskoke roots and who she was as a Mvskoke person. And that's what I like for at-large people to know, is no matter what lineage what you find in your lineage, that's not who you are, and that's not who you have to be moving forward. What matters is that you take the time to learn and to want to become part of the Mvskoke, other than just what are the benefits that are offered, but actually embracing who you are as a Mvskoke citizen and wanting to find your place within the nation. And everybody, to me, I feel like every citizen has a place and has a purpose. It's up to them to find out what that purpose is and to move forward with it.
Let me ask you about what you've discovered in terms of what your client population wants. In other words, at large, what are they telling you? Is it language? Is it cultural connection? Is it financial and economic? What are they telling you? What they want?
Well, this being my first week, I haven't been able to do this, but I do plan on. We've talked a lot in the past about doing surveys, but I've never seen one come out. And so I do want to do a survey to see what the priorities are. However, in speaking with a lot of the at-large citizens, even prior to me accepting this position, they really crave the connection to the culture. They crave the connection to the language. It makes them feel like they're actually Mvskoke, to actually know some of the words. I have one lady, and I don't know if she's listening this morning. Her name's Jane Hamilton. She's a citizen out in California who I became friends with. And at the age of 60-something years old, she began to learn the Mvskoke language, and she said she never heard a word of the Mvskoke language before. I think she had watched... I don't know, it was one of the Mvskoke films she had been exposed to. I can't remember what it was called. But she said she'd never heard it, and she thought it was so beautiful. And so when the opportunity came about for her to learn the language, she jumped right on it. And she is really following through with that becoming part of her identity and who she is. She has since taken up sewing and making ribbon skirts, and so I've kind of recruited her and asked her to do one for me. I want my own Jane Hamilton. That's what I'm saying. But, seeing that she has that desire to want to learn Mvskoke designs, Mvskoke traditions, Mvskoke culture, what she can do from California, she is taken it upon herself to do that. And so that's one of the things that I'd like to get across to all of our at-large citizens is that, you don't have to wait for an opportunity to be presented to you to become Mvskoke. You can take that opportunity yourself and, reach out to my office and let's get something started. And we want to connect. We want to bridge that gap in communication and cultural differences, because we know a lot of our at-large citizens are at-large because of the Relocation Act that took place back when, and that was, to me, that was a ploy by the government to sort of separate our people and, divide and conquer at that time. And so now we're resilient. We have our government still. We have our people still. And though we have people that live at large, some by choice, but many not by choice, it doesn't mean that they're not Mvskoke or that they're not part of us. And so, and that's one thing, too, that I'd like to get the people here in the reservation boundaries to understand, is that a lot of those at-large citizens are not at-large by choice. And so to bridge that gap in communication to where we can give that understanding so that there's not that divide, and that we have a more welcoming sense of community to our at-large citizens is really important. It's vital to this program.
Oh, I just want to comment, the reclamation of identity doesn't have to be geographical.
Exactly.
No. Yeah. And it's so satisfying when you regain, quote unquote, something like that. Now, I always like to say, I have been a beginner student of the language, and worked with Becky Barnett and as Mahaya. And as you learn something and it fits together, it really makes you feel good. Think, oh, yeah, I understand that. Yeah. And now I find out what those guys have been calling me all this time.
It's like the Res Dogs Chokuji. Yeah.
So that's been so important. I think a lot of other people share that when they make that same discovery. Now, in your plan, do you have specific goals or something that you've laid out, or perhaps a timeline? I know it's just your first week, but
as far as a timeline, that's something that I've been wanting to sit down and work on this week and have not had the time to do it because, once I took office, it was kind of like, oh, wow, where do I start,
Yeah.
But I'm just going to have to sit down and make some priorities. And one of the things that I want to do is that the numbers that I have that were last reported in 2019 were that we have 87,344 citizens, but in sitting in on the cabinet meeting Monday morning, I quickly learned that citizenship has grown to like over 94,000, and that this quarter alone they processed like 1,300 applications for citizenship, which that's the amount that they normally do in a year. So, and they had still, I think, 1,800 pending applications. It was somewhere within that number, and I was really surprised to find that out. So one of my goals is to get with citizenship to sort of pinpoint where our populations are, where are the biggest clusters, which we know California, New Mexico, and Texas hold the largest at-large populations for us now. But I'm interested to know what our populations are out west. We're going to be making a trip out to Oxford, Alabama, somewhere early April. And I'd like to set up some meetings with our at-large citizens out west, because we have at-large citizens all over the United States.
Yeah.
And so I want to be able to make it known that we're here to serve everybody and not just the biggest populations of at-large citizens, although, every at-large citizen is important. I don't want it to come across sounding, like I have, a priority over certain larger groups or whatever. Every citizen is important to me, so I want to make that known. One of the things that I want to start out doing, like I said, is creating the survey so that I can begin to prioritize those needs among the at-large citizens. And a lot of times people will tell you that, well, we have found that the at-large, they don't need financial assistance, But a lot of times they're not aware that the tribe might have the ability or the capability. So I want to create a survey in a way that will get the citizens at large to tell me what their needs are so that I can start building a program. We have a lot of services that we can provide now with at-large citizens. We have a lot of services that prohibit us from providing to the at-large population. And I'm not really into being told no or that we can't do it. I'm into looking at ways that we can serve. And so that's my priority, is even if the program is not able to serve at large now, figuring out a way that we can make it happen. And that's going to take a lot of work between the administrative offices and the National Council of Legislation to work towards helping to create that program that's going to be sustainable for all at-large citizens, and where we get to the point that, we can include everybody. And, even as a citizen, there have been so many times over the years where I have noticed that it just almost feels like our people get told no because we find ways to exclude them. And I'm not saying that that's what we do. It just looks like that. It might appear like that. And so I want to change that appearance for the at-large to where it looks like we're doing everything that we can to provide inclusion in every aspect of the Mvskoke Nation.
The population you serve then is scattered in so many different places,
right.
And the distances are quite large. In California, obviously, and they've got a group out there where they get together every year, and our administration goes out to listen. But as close as Oklahoma City, so. With all that distance that you have to deal with, do you have an idea of how you're going to overcome that or deal with it?
Yes, actually, the pandemic forced us into doing a lot of things virtually. And so one of the things that I want to do in the near future is to start having at-large meetings via Zoom. And that is one way to include the at-large community. And what I would like to do, and it's one thing that I did this morning, is I got online and I thought, how can I include the at-large citizens to listen in even on this interview? And so even though I only knew 30 minutes beforehand, I got onto my personal page and I created an at-large page on Facebook, and posted the link to this radio station, because I know that there are citizens that live across the United States that have access to internet every morning now, because they're aware that there is a link to this radio station. They can listen to Mvskoke Radio every morning at 10 o'clock. And so not just for this interview, but that's a way to bridge the gap in communication is by technology. But I want to have regular at-large meetings via Zoom where they can actually see me and talk to me, and they're not just getting a voicemail on the phone because I'm too busy to answer it right here and there. But to be able to go to the departments and see what's going on in our departments, to show just what's going on around the nation, and to be the window to the Mvskoke Creek Nation for all at-large to be able to view.
Right. Let me add a bit of clarification. This show, Mvskoke Radio, is carried on KOKL 1240, The Roo, every Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, and it is available online live at 1240 The Brew. And so if somebody wants to check it out, they can catch it live there. Sometime this afternoon, I should have it available on our Mvskoke Radio YouTube website, so they can even go into our archives and see shows that are available. Now, our department, Mvskoke Radio, is really knocking itself out trying to keep things going now. Since we have the managing editor here, maybe she can fill us in on when the newspaper is available.
Yeah, that was something that I wanted to say. Encourage any at-large citizen that wants to keep up with what's going on with the nation to subscribe to our newspaper. We do a physical and a digital copy. So it's bi-monthly. So we have an edition out on the 1st and the 15th. We put everything that's going on at the nation that we can get a hold of and putting it in there and keeping as many people informed. We just need your name, address, and roll number. If you're doing email, just email, and we can, stay connected. We try to, do as much as we can to put the word out.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. And that's really going to be a good resource for, we have citizens who, and it was just this morning I received an email that Mona Lowe over at the language program was accepting orders again for the 2022 calendar. And I made that post within minutes. I had people just, they are starving to be connected to our nation. And so I thought just the calendars, which was such a wonderful idea. Everybody loves the calendars and the fact that they have a theme that they go by every year. And so I had people calling and saying, hey, can they mail them? Do they have to be pickup? And so I was like, let's contact Coco and find out. We got the information and I put it out there. And so, I'm sure they're busy with phone calls this morning, making sure those calendars get out. But, just making those small, even the smallest connections matter to our at-large citizens.
Yeah, we've had a few of those phone calls come our way, and we just, nope, we don't do it. And go bug them.
Yes.
Listen, we've only got about a minute or two left in this segment, so if someone are interested in contacting you for more information, how do they get in touch with you?
Okay, well, you know what? I haven't got my business cards or anything out there yet, but right now, email is the best way to contact me, and it's going to be eedwards@muscogenation.com. eedwards@muscogenation.com. I do have a cell phone number, but still trying to get the kinks out with getting all my technology set up. My desk phone number is 918-549-2709. If you forget, just call the tribe's main number. Ask for Ann Townsend Edwards. I am the Mvskoke Nation Tribal Liaison for at-large citizens, and they can transfer you directly to my phone. Whitney Tiger is my Tribal Liaison Assistant, and you can also ask for her by name if you're calling the office. So.
Okay, and for business cards, you need to talk to our Mvskoke creative people.
Right.
Yeah, I think Whitney's on that. So.
All right. Well, Ann Edwards, thank you so much. Please keep us informed in case there's something you need to share with our citizens, and we would be happy to do what we can to help out.
Mado for having me. Jihijadis.
Head in my head. Okay, we're going to take a short pause here, and we're going to reach into our archives and talk about wild onion dinners, one of my favorite topics. So please stay with us here on Mvskoke Radio.
Who am I? Am I native? I don't want people assuming things because I'm Indian. I just want to be me. But how do I live in two worlds? Some guys just check out by doing meth. But that ain't for me. Because I see my family, my friends, my drum making, my future. There are a lot of cool things about being who I am, and meth isn't one of them.
Learn more at ncai.org. A message from the Partnership for a Drug-Free America and the National Congress of American Indians.
Hear that? That's the sound of hope being killed by meth. Methamphetamine use is causing huge problems in our community. Hear that? That's the sound of something you can do about it. Events like rodeo, res ball, and family time can help keep kids away from meth.
Talk to your kids. Keep our culture alive. A message from the Partnership for a Drug-Free America and the National Congress of American Indians.
Learn more at ncai.org.
Oh, we know that the COVID epidemic has had its effect on so many of our... okay, well, we're recording now. Let me get your name and where you... Hang on there, Gary. You're jumping the gun. Anyway, as I was saying, we've had so many activities interrupted, and one of them was the wild onion dinners, but we managed to get over to one. I believe this was it Conchardi? Okay, well, I'll shut up and we'll listen about wild onion dinners. So, from?
My name is Jason Walls. I am from the Twin Hills area and attend Conchardi United Methodist Church.
Okay, we've got an event here today that I think many of us missed out on last year. You put on your annual wild onion dinner, right?
Yes.
Did you do it last year?
No, we didn't. Due to the COVID pandemic and with the churches shutting down and trying to make sure that people were safe and stuff, we chose not to have it, which was kind of tough. We're used to having it every year, and this is one of our biggest times, not only as a fundraiser for the church, but we love getting together and hanging out and cooking and spending time together here all day. We actually start probably on Wednesday or Thursday of that week, getting stuff ready, cleaning up, and then it kind of goes through the weekend, So it was kind of tough missing that.
And it's time for humbugs. Huh?
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, why do you think these events are so important to the Mvskoke people?
I think a lot of it's just community, sense of community. I know that I haven't always been here at Concharty, but hearing the elders talk about it, they've done it since they were little, and it's just something that they've always done. I think they said that they actually stayed the night here. They'd come up here and stay all week, spend the night, and it was just a big part of the community, bringing everybody together, fellowshipping, getting to know everyone. It's kind of like a family reunion sometimes. You get everybody that you haven't seen in a long time.
A major event for the year, then.
Yes. This is probably our biggest event of the year.
Let me ask you this: why are the wild onions, the defumbachi, why is that so important, so to speak? What is it? The taste, the flavor, the what?
For me, it's kind of the flavor, the taste, how the eggs and everything's just together, and the onions get tender. I think that's probably the most important part of it for the actual dish. How tender the onions are, how good the eggs are cooked into the onions, they're not scorched. I know for us, we cook them. Those onions will cook for 30 minutes, 40 minutes, just getting tender. Put a little grease and salt and pepper and let them simmer. And then once they're nice and tender, we add those eggs to them and slowly cook those eggs into them, and they just come out real good. They just...
I have to agree with you on that. Now, did you hear any comments about not having a dinner last year? People disappointed?
Yes, there were a lot of people that were kind of disappointed that we didn't have it. I know a lot of us here at the church were disappointed that we couldn't have it. When we weighed the benefit of it versus the chance of losing elders and losing church members and community members because we were having the onion dinner, it just made more sense to just not do it. And of course we lost a lot of elders anyway due to the pandemic. So I think it was better, in the long run that we chose just not to do it, and to just, we figured we'd plan for this year. We were hoping that we would be able to do it this year. And we were, we modified it a little bit, made sure everybody's wearing masks, and we had done some things to the church with our air filtration systems and things like that to kind of prepare a little bit better. So.
The different cookhouses here, I guess, are preparing different specialties. Is that how you're doing it?
Normally everybody cooks about the same thing. So each camp house normally cooks fry bread, salt meat, onions, meat and hominy. There are some that do sofki. This year we're doing chicken and dumplings. But for the most part, every camp does the exact same, cooks the same meals with the exception of, sofki, grape dumplings. There's some others that do some of the other stuff.
Now, it's always been the tradition of the elders to be the best cooks and to be able to prepare these meals in a fashion no one else can. Is that the case here?
Yes, and of course I'm a little biased, so I'm going to say our camp cooks the best food. But if you go to any of these camps, they're going to say they cook the best food. So I think that everybody has their own little spin on it. It tastes a little different. But But yeah, I'm going to say we're the kings of the camp down here. But like I said, you go next door, they're going to say that. You go to the next one, they're going to say that. So everybody's proud of what they're cooking and putting out of their camp houses.
I've always heard some jokes and stories about wild onions and gathering them, and things like the elder ladies who will not tell you where their favorite patch is, or running across a snake or something like that. Do you remember any of that kind of thing?
So we do have our own little patch that we try to pick from. Normally, it's a lot of these guys that go to Grandpa's house, and they've got their own little patch that they watch and they pick and clean and cut them and all of that. I haven't heard any funny stories really that I can think of about that. I know that it's a lot of fun going out there watching them, the little ones, all the way from 2 years old up to 18. Up to 68 out there picking onions. And I know Grandpa last year or a couple years ago they did a video, and he was talking about how he goes out there and he'll just lay down and just lay in them and pick around them, and then the grandkids will help, so.
It's a pretty amazing technique there.
Yeah.
After you run it, 2 days? Just 1 day? Just
1 day. Yeah, we do the onion dinners only Saturday, and we typically go from 10 to 3 on Saturday.
When it's all over and you kind of look at the results, you mentioned it being an important money maker for the church. I mean, is it really worth the effort in terms of bucks, money?
I think ultimately, I don't think we ever really think about, we had a bad year, or we had we look at the money, and of course that does help a lot. It helps pay electric and keep things running, helps pay pasture and all of that. But I think ultimately it wouldn't matter if we didn't make anything. It's more about everybody coming up here and having fun and hanging out. And when everything's said and done, we'll clean up, we'll go up to the fellowship hall, we'll have song and a prayer, and we'll sit and eat what's left over, and we'll just keep going. So
when it's all done and you've had a real good meal, how do you feel?
Exhausted, but we feel great. It feels good. I know that a lot of us were like, man, we've got to be up at the church at 7:30, 8 o'clock, and you're kind of dreading it, and you get up here and get in the groove, and by the time it's all said and done, it's a satisfying feeling that we come up here, we've accomplished everything, we've got to hang out and joke around and cook and eat good food, and then we go home and relax, come back up here Sunday.
How about having a full belly?
That too, have a full belly, and I think that's the hardest part. While we're cooking, we're snacking too. So by the time that you're done, a lot of us cook all day. So we'll cook from 8 o'clock in the morning until they tell us they don't need any food. So we don't really get a lot of breaks to eat, so we'll snack and stuff. So a lot of times we're full by the time everything's over, but then we'll sit down and have a proper meal and eat and go home and go to sleep.
A lot of greasy faces, huh?
A lot of greasy faces.
Any final thoughts you want to share about what your church does here, or the coming together of all your parishioners there?
I know that I grew up in a large family. My father was military. We traveled all over. So having this, for me, being able to be a part of this and have the group that's here and the extended community and family is just, it's irreplaceable. There's not really a way to describe it, really. I mean, unless you've never had it, and then you become part of that, it's just amazing.
That about ready to get out of your way, but that just raised an interesting question. Have you ever shared this meal, the dafumbachi, with people who've never had it before?
Yes. We have people, so I have a lot of family that are out in Mississippi, Tennessee, my godparents that are standing right behind you. They came out, they've been coming out for 8 years, 10 years to this, and they come out every year. My parents were actually coming from Memphis out here, and they had car trouble in Little Rock and had to turn around and go back. So yes, we do. We share it with people. People come from all over, different family, and not only my family, but other people's family, and they love it. They enjoy coming, and the same things that I said, they enjoy coming and hanging out. Everybody's nice, and they joke around and have a good time and have a full belly. So,
what are their reactions when they first taste it?
I think, some of them remember having something similar as a child. Maybe not necessarily this exact, prepared the same way. So a lot of childhood memories. I remember Grandma or Mom used to cook something that was similar to this. For the most part, they enjoy it. I know there's some that don't like it. They don't like the onions, but they love the salt meat and the fry bread and all of the other things that go with that. So.
Okay, well, I'll get out of your way. Thank you so much. Appreciate you taking time here with me. Let me get your name and where you're from.
Jeremiah Wilson, right here at Concharty.
We're here at Concharty's annual onion dinner. This is coming back from last year when they had to miss out.
Right.
What did you hear about people who were disappointed because they couldn't have it?
Yes, they were disappointed, but, it is what it is, so, we had to deal with it, so. But, yeah, we got right up to the edge of it, and then we had to go, cancel it, But, yeah, we're glad that we got to come back this year, Still not out of the woods, but we've lost quite a few in our church here, too,
Yeah. Now, you decided, the church decided to go ahead and hold a dinner this year, right?
Yeah.
What was a deciding factor there?
Well, you talking about like the quarantine and stuff, wearing masks, yeah, that's what we wanted to do, and, go from there, We was going to just have it a drive-through, and then we decided to go ahead and walk through. I think most of our people's already got shots anyway, so, yeah, that was a big thing right there,
Let me ask you, why are these events so important to the Mvskoke people, the dafumbachi dinner here?
I think a lot of it is just fellowship. And we love to eat, but a lot of fellowship goes on here. It's like a reunion every year, and we look forward to it, And
Plus you get this great food.
Yes, right. We have stuff that a lot of people don't have, so. But everybody works together here. We're proud of our people. Got a lot of people coming in, want to know if we need anything else, But yeah, we just try to hold our own. But we're glad we could come and have this year.
Did you eat wild onions as a child?
Oh yes, I grew up in the onion patch. Yes, Mama used to. When this road was. We had to walk from the road sometime, down there. But there was a place down there right close to the little old bridge, and they wild onions. She'd meet us down there when we get off the school bus, and we'd help her pick onions there, and she cleaned them, and everything.
Did she have a secret patch that you didn't tell anybody about?
Well, not really, because there's a lot of them that I know of that they don't know about, so we kind of keep that a secret, But yeah, it's.
What is it about the wild onions that our people like so much? What's the reason, do you think?
Boy, I don't know, but we pick a lot where I live, you know, and we just try to eat them through the wintertime, you know, some freeze them, you know, and it's a big fundraiser for us, but we love the fellowship too, you know. So, you know,
as the year goes on, you know, the season goes away, and we'll miss it and start looking for next year. Do you hear a lot of people anticipating the coming of spring and the season?
Yes, they do. Yes, we like I say, you know, we look for that time, you know, and down where I live, the onions don't come up until it'll end of March, real good. Down south, you know, they come up earlier, you know, so they have theirs sometime ahead of us, you know. But you know, we always have a good crowd here. Good crowd.
After you've had dinner and get a chance to relax, is it time for a nap?
Yes. Well, we kind of look back and see where we could have improved, you know, on a lot of stuff that we do, you know. So we just, sometimes we get together in here, you know, talk about it. We have our closing prayer and when it's all over with, you know, clean up and everything and look for Sunday, you know. So.
There is a final thought you might want to leave with our listeners about wild onion dinners. What would you tell them?
Well, it's something that will, you know, God has put here, and somehow there's a connection, you know, what it means to us, you know, and we just, I guess, get it from that, you know, and know that's this certain time of the year that they come up, you know. If you wait too long, they start seeding out, you know, and they get tough, you know. So, but yeah, we look forward to it.
Mado. Yeah. Hi, what's your name? Where are you from?
Robin Whitecloud.
Where are you from?
I live in Haskell.
Okay. Are you a Mvskoke?
Yes.
Okay. What is it that you feel was so important about coming to this wild onion dinner?
Well, it's a tradition, kind of. And it's our culture, and, you know, my husband's non-native, so I'm getting him acclimated into our traditions and our culture and introducing him to our foods.
What was that like when he first tasted wild onion?
He liked it. I've made him eat Mvskoke first, and he doesn't really care for it, but he'll still eat it.
Last year they had to cancel the dinner because of the COVID virus, but now they brought it back this year. What are your thoughts about having it return to our community?
I think it's awesome, and I'm just looking forward to the day when we can all sit and eat together once again and not have to get everything to go and be apart.
Okay, but probably talk to you for a second.
Sure.
Okay. I'm Gary Fife with Mvskoke Radio. What's your name and where you're from?
I'm Shirley Almarigi, and I'm from Okmulgee.
Okay, now you came down today to take part in Concharty's annual Wild Onion Dinner. Why is that so important?
It's always been a part of our lives, and so we don't want to miss out. We missed last year, and so we've really been looking forward to today. Yeah, it's really something. Wild onions are something special to us.
Why do you think that is? I mean, I don't know of any other tribe that has this kind of focus on wild onions. What is it important to Mvskoke?
Well, it's kind of like Mvskoke, you know, the other traditional food we have. You know, I imagine other tribes have something similar because corn is an Indian product, I think. But it's just special because it's tradition, I guess.
As the dinner progresses here, and of course you're ready for your meal, how did you feel when you found out that they were going to do it again this year and taking precautions?
We're all excited. This is my niece, and she's been waiting for this day because she missed it so much. And she said, I'm not going to miss out. I don't care what happens. I'm going.
Well, let me ask you, what's your name and where are you from?
My name is Winona Amador, and I live in Tulsa.
Okay. So it's important for you to come down for this dinner?
Yes, I have some stuff. It's all. I love wild onions, and we try to go to others, and they were ran out. And as a matter of fact, my friend helped me, got me to buy some wild onions. Anyway, the ones you got to do yourself, and found out they weren't wild onions. So there went that. So I can't wait for this day.
Oh, is your stomach growling?
Yes.
But no, thank you all very much. Hi, where y'all from?
Sepulpa.
Okay, can I talk to you for a minute? Sure. What's your name?
Gina.
Gina.
Halbert.
Halbert?
Yes.
And Sepulpa?
Sepulpa.
Okay, why is this event so important to you?
I just remember growing up eating wild onions at my grandparents', and so it's just a good opportunity to come and get them.
You a Mvskoke person?
No, Cherokee.
CO, Tohija.
Yes, you.
Now, the annual event was canceled last year because of the COVID virus.
Right.
We're glad to hear about it coming back this year.
Absolutely. So, yeah.
So you drove all the way from Tulsa?
Yeah. They're from Glenpool, and I live in Sepulpa, so we just drove on down here. And
You're probably my neighbors then. well, let me talk to the Glenpool folks who are coming. Hi, what's your name?
Rebecca Williams.
Lloyd Williams.
Okay, and you made it down here for this dinner this year. Why is it so important?
Because we like the wild onions, and I want to try the grape dumplings. I've never tried the grape dumplings.
Yeah, same thing, pretty much. Just, of course, that's my wife. I just come with her. I ain't got no choice either.
Well, you haven't got any complaints about the meal, though.
No, I always wanted to come and eat this anyway.
Okay. Well, you all have a good one. Enjoy.
thank you.
Hey, can I talk to you for a second? Okay, what's your name? Where are you from?
Oh, I'm from Creek. My name's Gunter
Can I
Kozer.
ask you to pull that mask off? Try it again.
My name's Gunter Kozer. I'm from Creek.
Okay, why is it important for you to be here today?
I'm just here with my family to look around.
Yeah. Are you a fan of wild onions? Are you a fan of wild onions? Do you like to eat them?
Yeah.
Why is that?
It just tastes good.
Yeah? Okay. They canceled this thing last year. Are you glad to see it come back?
I've never been here. This is my first time to see.
Oh, my. Okay, see, and you've eaten wild onions before, though, right? Okay, well, enjoy. We'll get out of your way. Now, can I talk to you all for a second? Hello?
Sure.
Hi, what's your name? Where you all from?
My name's Zach from Broken Arrow.
Morgan, Broken Arrow.
And the little guy?
Sander, Broken Arrow.
Why is it so important for you to be down here at the Concharty Wild Onion Dinner this year?
This is my first year. Yeah, my first time being here.
Why is it
It's been a while since I've been down here, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But you're all familiar with eating wild onions?
I love
Not me. It's my first time eating wild onions, actually.
Well, your first time? Oh, boy. You in for a treat, my friend. Well, they canceled it last year because of the virus, but they put it on again this year. So, are you happy it's happening?
Oh yeah, I'm pretty excited.
Okay. Well, you all have a good one. Enjoy. I'm Bucks J.
So thank you.
Maybe it doesn't speak Creek yet, huh? Hi, how you doing?
Good.
Let me get out of the way. All right. Can I talk to you all for a second?
Sure.
What's your name and where you from?
I'm Rita Henson, and I'm from Sand Springs. But my family started this church, so I'm a Colbert and a Bruner. So, and all the veterans you see on the board here are my relatives.
Okay.
Yep.
Hi, what's your name? Where are you from?
I'm Mary Coleman from Sand Springs.
Why is it so important that you all be here today? Is it just the food, or is there something else?
Oh no, it's the community. It's our being Native. We've got to support one another. The food's awesome, but we have to support one another.
And your thoughts?
The same. We grew up coming here when we was little, so.
Y'all grew up eating wild onion?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Were you disappointed because they had to cancel the dinner last year?
I'd rather be safe, so no, I wasn't.
I agree, I wasn't either.
Yeah? And what's your favorite part?
Wild onions is my favorite, but hopefully there's some grape dumplings and some sofky still left.
Okay, well, you all have a good one.
Thank you. You too.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah, you too. Okay. Okay, what's your name? Where are y'all from?
My name is Mona, and I'm actually from Illinois. I'm just here visiting with family.
It's a long way to drive for wild onions. And your name?
I'm Spencer. I'm from Old Mulgee.
Okay. This is your first time here?
It is, yes.
What is it that maybe you kind of expect here?
Really great food because it smells wonderful. I'm excited.
Being downwind of the kitchen is really tough.
Yes.
Okay, and why is it?
Here for a while. It smells really good.
Why is it that you come?
For the food. Just the fry bread and the wild onions.
Is it something you maybe grew up with or familiar with?
I did, yes. Used to come to these with my grandparents.
As a little guy, you learned to get greasy face with
That's right.
wild onions.
Never grew out of it.
Okay. Now, one of the things I'm also asking is why these events are so important. Don't let me make you lose your place in line. Okay, why are these kind of events so important, do you think?
I am never here during wild onion season, so I've missed it for years. I grew up in Okmulgee and Mvskoke, and it's just a great opportunity to come back and be part of my heritage and participate in it again. And it's a wonderful opportunity to raise money and participate in this.
Now, from what I've heard from a lot of people, they say, of course, the food, but it's also important as a kind of a community event kind of thing. What are your thoughts?
I agree with that. I think you look how many people it brings out to this far out in the country, and the community, people who you don't normally see otherwise, or maybe see once or twice a year, and get to visit and have some good food.
Okay. What's your favorite part?
Oh, I'd like to say visiting with people, but it's got to be the food.
Which dish?
The fry bread.
Okay, the fry bread crosses all boundaries. The event was canceled last year. Were you aware of that?
I was not aware of that, but it is great to see that there's COVID vaccines available here today for everyone to take advantage of. That's very nice.
Okay. Were you disappointed about last year?
I was, but it's understandable.
Okay, now, final thought, if you had to tell our listeners about the food, the event coming out, what would it be?
You just come for the smell if you don't want to eat. Just come and take in the scent. It's wonderful.
Live on that.
Absolutely.
Now, what would you tell them?
I'd say just don't miss it, because it was canceled last year. You never know. Hopefully things will keep getting better, but don't miss an opportunity to come out and enjoy something like this.
Okay. What's your name and where are you from?
Shar Tiger from here at Duck Creek.
Okay. Why is it so important for you to be out here today?
For the support for the church, help them out. Yeah.
Food's got nothing to do with it?
Food too, but they serve good food, really. So, yeah, it's just come out to help them out. What we can do, what I can do. That's what I like to do, give help out, support.
Let's get a great meal, too. Huh?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think wild onions are so important to the Creek people?
Well, I guess it really falls back on our elders. They had to eat it back then, too, to survive. Yeah. So it just comes all the way up to this generation, So
it's not too hard to follow that tradition
that's
either.
Right, when you're native.
All right, we'll get out of your way.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Pye.
I like A.
Yeah, I was going to say that's the best part of the interview right there.
The natives are.
All right, you all got something to play with now? Okay, I'm going to...
You'll hear Shad, too.
Right, memories of the Tafambachi, the wild onion dinners, and that season will be starting up before too long. We survived the cold part here, the wonderful junior winter here. Okay, well, that'll do it for me here on today's Mvskoke Radio. And if we have any luck, we will have the principal chief come in next week and talk about some of the developments with our tribe, things like the budget and how to deal with a governor who's not being very friendly lately. But in the meantime, let's get out of the way. Mado Mabo Hedges good. You've been listening to Mvskoke Radio. Join us again next week for more local, tribal, and community news and updates. Mado.